He once ruled the richest kingdom on earth, a land of towering monuments, armies of thousands, and endless treasure. A kingdom where one man's whispered order could decide life or death. His name was Firawn, the Pharaoh of Egypt, and he believed he was not just a king, but a god. In ancient Egypt, the Pharaoh sat above all creation. People bowed when he walked. They praised him as the giver of life and the taker of breath. But Firawn wanted more. He wanted every knee bent, every mind controlled, every heart terrified of him. One day, his priest came to him with a frightening prophecy. A child will be born among the Israelites, a child who will destroy your throne and end your rule. A wise leader might prepare, might strengthen defenses, but Firawn chose a path darker than imagination. He ordered his soldiers to slaughter every newborn boy from the Israelites. Every home searched, every cradle inspected, every mother's scream silenced. Thousands of babies were murdered to protect one man's ego. He thought he had conquered fate, but destiny laughs at tyrants, because one baby slipped through his bloody net. A desperate mother placed her infant in a basket and set him upon the Nile. Waves carried him away from death, right into the palace of the very man who wanted him dead. Firawn's own wife fell in love with the child and begged her husband to spare him. Firawn agreed. He raised the boy in luxury, fed him, educated him, protected him. That boy was Musa, the very child who was meant to end his reign. Years passed, Musa grew, and one day he returned with a message from the Almighty, "Let the people go." Firawn laughed in his face. A god, obey a shepherd? Impossible. But then the signs began. The Nile turned into blood. Frogs filled every home. Locusts devoured crops. Darkness swallowed the sun. 9 terrifying plagues struck the land, each sign louder than the one before, each warning clear as lightning. But Firawn's heart was hardened by arrogance. Instead of surrendering, he declared Musa a sorcerer. He tortured anyone who dared to believe in him. His paranoia grew like a disease inside his mind. He believed every whisper was a rebellion, every movement a threat, every Israelite a slave forever. Finally, he ordered the execution of Musa's followers, but Musa led his people away under the cover of night, a nation escaping chains, step by trembling step. When the sun rose, Firawn discovered the escape. Rage erupted like a volcano. He assembled his greatest war force, hundreds of chariots, the sharpest weapons, his most ruthless soldiers. He would crush them, personally. The Israelites reached the edge of the sea, water ahead, death behind. They cried out in terror, believing this was their end. But Musa raised his staff, and an impossible miracle happened. The sea split open, water rose into massive walls, holding back the ocean with invisible strength. A dry path appeared, a road of hope carved by divine power. The Israelites ran, every heartbeat a prayer, every step freedom. Then Firawn arrived. He saw the sea divided, he saw the miracle. But instead of kneeling, he ordered the charge. His army stormed into the path with unstoppable fury. A god cannot lose, not to slaves, not to a shepherd, not to anyone. But when the last Israelite stepped onto the safe shore, justice arrived. The walls of the sea collapsed, the ocean roared back into place, chariots shattered, soldiers screamed, horses drowned, and Firawn, the self-proclaimed god, sank into the darkness of the deep. Water filled his lungs, his golden crown drifted away. The mighty king begged for life. Only then did he admit the truth. I believe now in the Lord of Musa. But belief born in fear is belief too late. His life ended in a grave of water, but his story was not finished. For unlike his soldiers, Firawn's body did not vanish beneath the ocean. The sea threw him back onto land, preserved, a sign for the world. Thousands of years later, archaeologists would discover the mummified remains of a great pharaoh, skin preserved, features intact, eyes forever open, a body kept alive by history, so that everyone who sees him remembers. No matter how powerful a tyrant becomes, there is always a greater power. Firawn ruled through fear. He murdered children. He enslaved a nation. He raised himself above God. But in the end, he was just another man. a man whose heart drowned long before his body. His mummy now rests behind glass. Tourists stare, historians debate, but his silent corpse screams the same warning: arrogance brings destruction, oppression invites justice, and the higher pride climbs, the deeper the fall. This is the legacy of Firawn, the king who challenged God and lost everything. More tyrants await, more hidden evils, more dark truths buried beneath the sands of history. This is only the beginning. Subscribe and witness the rise and fall of the world's darkest rulers.